When most realtors think to themselves, okay, I want to become a listing agent, they automatically assume that they have to start working expired listings and for sale by owners. The reality, however, is that couldn't be further from the truth. Most top dominant listing agents in any market across the country do so without working FSBOs or expireds at all. And I'm going to introduce you to an agent in this video who's been able to build a massive listing agent business without working these bottom of funnel leads like expireds, like for sale by owners, and avoiding the bloody waters where there's a ton of competition, bad properties at bad price points with clients that are less than desirable to work with. And by the end of this video, you're going to have an exact blueprint, step by step, so that you can implement it into your business and start getting these results for yourself in your own business. Casey, let's dive right into this. Why don't you just give us like an overview of your business, your production from last year, and the goal for this year?
Yeah, so I've been in the business for about almost 7 years now. I've been seeing different parts of the markets, different heavy sellers market. Now we're leading to more of a balanced market here in LA, and my production last year net was around 200, and for this year my goals are going to be, I want to net 315, so that's going to be a GCI of 450 is what I'm shooting for.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
And so you've been in the business for 7 years. You're in a very difficult market, being in LA. And so, like, if you went back to the beginning, walk us through maybe some of the early mistakes that you made when it came to lead generation, and maybe some of the things, Casey, that you believed would help you become successful that were maybe a huge waste of time.
Oh man, Brandon. I mean, where did I start? When I first joined the business, you're a pup. You don't really know anything if you don't have any context. When you get your real estate license, obviously the state exam doesn't teach you anything about practice. It doesn't teach you anything about contracts or anything like that. So I didn't even know what lead generation was when I first joined the brokerage, my first brokerage. I was like, what do you do to get business? I was sitting around on the MLS looking at nice houses and expecting people to call me.
That's what most people think, right? That's most people think.
Yeah. So essentially, yeah. I mean, you learn the hard way that, things are going to fall on your lap when you're getting started, and you have to go out and get the business. And, I did that through open houses at first. It was a great market for open houses. I did one every weekend, two every weekend. Then that was, initially started me getting some buyers and getting some business going. And then once you're in the business long enough, I started getting referrals and past clients and Sphere, things like that. And it wasn't until, maybe a couple of years ago when I really started getting serious about outbound sales, on the phone, hitting expireds and for sale by owners and things like that. And yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I just was curious, like you talk about, it wasn't until a couple of years ago when you got serious about lead generation and you went right to outbound. I mean, did you try any of the other more sexy things? I mean, the outbound is what agents don't want to do, right? They don't want to pick up the phone. They don't want to do all the hard things. They want to do what the marketers are selling, which is, hey, this is really easy and get unlimited clients, and it's super sexy, like social media or advertising or buying. I mean, did you do anything else, or did you just go right to outbound?
Yeah, so I mean, I tried some different things. I was a part of Op City for a while, which is a time suck, and then never going that direction again. I never did Zillow leads. I never saw the value in it, obviously, because why would I pay $300 a lead if I can pay 2 cents a lead on and earn it and actually qualify the lead myself? So a lot of the shiny object syndrome, I try to stay away from. I really just try to stay, keep it to the basics. But there was a skill issue there in terms of on the phone, things like that. I did it a long time without really seeing the payoff that I thought I should get. But so that's what led me to join the program and really hone in my skills over the phone, so I can have a better time converting them and getting better leads in my database and stop wasting time on people that weren't really going to convert.
Got it. Okay. So if you started your business all over again, knowing what you know now, I think that what you're saying is that you, based on trying as much as you've tried, you would have gone right into out. Would that be fair?
Man, yeah, I would 100% would have gone straight to outbound sales because that is the quickest way to, quickest way to be successful in this business. And there's no two ways about it.
Yeah, there's no way to get around it. Like you've got to go proactively talk to people, right? Okay. So now let's talk about the second piece to that, which is what you said. So you tried this in the past with no success. What was it that what were the challenges you were facing that led you to get into coaching in the first place? And then we'll talk about what you've learned now and how you've been able to make it work.
Number one is you don't really know what to say. And you have these old outdated scripts that you just say verbatim, and doesn't matter what the prospect says, you're not listening. You're just going down the script line, and you're not really doing the work. You're not actually communicating with people in the way they want to be communicated with. And that can come off very salesy and needy. And the way I've been conditioning myself to communicate now is a lot more conducive to actually getting prospects to open up to me and, understand and invite me over sometimes and without me even asking for the appointment, which is completely different. And the second part of your question, what was that?
Well, no, that's great. That's perfect. And so we're going to get into that in a minute. And so let's talk about, so if you started brand new, you said you go right to outbound. And then what sources of business are you finding the most success with? Like, who is it that you're calling and communicating to?
So, yeah, I mean, I have I'm grateful that I have a great role playing partners, and every morning we talk about what's going on and what's not working. And I was doing expired and for sales by owners a lot. That was like I was doing 50-50 that and circle prospecting, but lately I've gone 95% circle prospecting, and I'll call an expired or for sale by owner if it's in an area that I want to do business in, and if it's a good, if I think it's a saleable listing, I'll call one of those once in a while. But 95% is going to be specifically absentee owners and downsizers right now.
Got it. And so a lot of the agents inside of our community are kind of making that shift as we speak. But that doesn't pertain to everybody, because with that type of business, that's what we call top of funnel business. People still need to make money now. They still need cash flow now. I mean, if you started over again, would you have gone right to circle prospecting and top of funnel, or would you have done what you did, which is to go to the bottom of funnel, convert expireds for sell by owners, build up that skill and transition like you've done? Or like, what would you recommend for someone that's kind of just getting started, maybe an agent who's brand new to the Listing Agent Academy program? Like, what do you recommend, or what's worked for you rather?
Yeah. So if you're a new agent, a lot of agents are, they're joining the business having a full-time job or a part-time job too. So they have income coming in to support themselves, or at least that. And if that's the case, yeah, go start building a pipeline first, and just start building that, because that pipeline compounds over time, and out of nowhere, you'll see it pop and you see it mature, and then you start getting business from it. If you have money coming in. If you don't and you need money now, yeah, 100% go for the bottom of funnel prospects, the expireds, the FSBOs, because those are going to convert fast. Even the lease listing program is great if you want quick money as well. I mean, yeah, if you have to pay the bills and do the stuff, you got to go for the bottom of funnel. That's going to be the bloody waters, like you said, and you have to do that. But also, do not neglect circle prospecting, because that is the easiest business you're gonna do, because nobody else is talking to those people.
I love it. It's so good. So let's unpack that a little bit. So you're going after top of funnel business where there's a lot less competition, but it takes a lot longer to convert. So let's go through your process. And I think we kind of just touched on it, but I am curious, like, what specifically was it that had you make this switch? I mean, you've been doing this a long time. You're not a new agent, and you were just calling FSBOs and expireds bottom of funnel, but then you made a business decision to switch your model. What was it that finally triggered you to say, okay, I'm going to leave these bloody waters and I'm going to go into a blue ocean because I'm sick of swimming in the red ocean? Like, what was it that triggered that?
Just, it's kind of got over that business model. I wanted to create a business model where I wanted to do business in the areas that I choose and the price points that I choose, instead of running around, going on an hour and competing against 4 or 5 agents. It's not something I was interested. I kind of got over it at that point. And honestly, I've been seeing a lot of people in the program with a lot of success. My role play partners, Brandon Halperin, Wyatt Parker,
Yeah.
they're killing it as well, and that's really reinforced my decision to just go all in on circle prospecting.
Yeah, super. I totally agree. Right. What I've always recommended is that, you can hang out in the bottom of funnel until you have solved your cash flow needs. But the goal is to get out of that, right? The goal is to build a business that is built essentially by design, where it's like, okay, this is where I want to work. This is who I want to work with. This is the type of product that I want to represent and sell. And the only way you get to do that is by, well, just that, circle prospecting in an area and having a targeted list of people or a demographic that you're going after, versus FSBOs and expireds, where it's like you just don't know where those are going to pop up and what type of property you're selling and at which price point and who is the clientele you're going to serve, et cetera, et cetera. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so now let's kind of dive even deeper. We'll keep peeling this onion back. So how much circle prospecting are you doing? Like, how many people, Casey, are you talking to every day?
Yeah, depending on how my day looks, I'm shooting for 25 to 30
Got it.
contacts
Okay.
a day, and yeah, around 3 hours a day.
Okay. And where are you right now getting the data from?
Right, I've been using a Red X for as long as I've been prospecting, and it's good. It has a whitelisted number. It automatically whitelists your number. It's good data. Honestly, I haven't had an issue with it, so I've stuck with Red X, as well as the share group if I want to get some downsides or absentees, and yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So to talk us through the conversation, right? So you're calling homeowners that really you don't have any competition with. Like, how is this conversation going where, Casey, you're able to turn a complete stranger out of like thin air into a lead that goes into the pipeline? Could you walk us through the conversation and what is it that you're saying that allows you to succeed with these conversations?
So basically, how do I turn a conversation to a lead, or how do I determine if it's a lead?
Yeah, like what are you saying? Like if
Yeah.
if I'm listening to this in the audience, I'm like, okay, cool, I can call people, but to your point, what do I say? What do I
Yeah.
say?
Yeah. I mean, you do the introductions, you the pattern interrupt, and you talk to them, and obviously you ask them, you give them every opportunity to tell you no. I mean,
That's
essentially,
right.
you want to weed through the process, because most people you talk to aren't going to be in a position to do anything. They're not going to want to do anything. That's completely fine. That's okay, because every no is going to lead you closer to a yes. So essentially, over the call, you're if they give you anything about maybe wanting to sell, and you just be like, hey, it's a beautiful house. I mean, is it an option just to keep it? And if there's any bite back, you're going to get there. And then if they argue against that, I know I have something there. I can dig a little bit deeper. And yeah.
That's great. So this is what you were talking about at the beginning of our conversation, where what you were doing before you and I started working
Yeah.
together to what you're doing now. We call this disqualifying, because what
Yeah.
we're only interested in is getting to the truth. And what you've learned to do is, instead of asking questions that are on, like you said, a lot of the older, outdated scripts that are all what we'd call yes oriented questions. Hey, are you
Hmm.
interested in selling, et cetera, et cetera. That only leads to, no, I'm not interested. Don't call me again. Take me off your list, where you're doing the opposite of that. And so let's just role play the intro and maybe the
Hmm.
first question or two, just so the audience can understand, okay, how is he getting into these conversations? Would you be open for that?
Sure.
Yeah. So ring, ring, ring. Hello.
Hey, Brandon.
Yeah, this is him.
Brandon, this is Casey. I know this call's a little out of the blue, but would you hate me if I asked you a quick question?
No. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Hey man, I was just calling because I'm sure you've heard there's not a lot of inventory on the market in Woodland Hills. So I guess if I were to ask if you'd ever consider selling, you'd probably just tell me there's no chance, huh?
That's great. So that was really, I
Yeah.
love the delivery. I love the chuckle, the laugh. Like you're assuming the no. In other words, you're feeding prospects the objections now. And
Hmm.
that's got to feel, if I'm you, if I'm anybody that's learning this reverse selling methodology, do you believe, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, I want you to shoot me straight on this, which you always do. Has it taken the pressure off of you to make these calls because you're no longer having to deal with as much resistance as you did before? Would that be a fair statement to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's all the pressure is gone because you're qualifying the prospects as much as they're qualifying you. You're looking, you're weeding them out as much as they're as skeptical as you. You know what I mean? I mean, every prospect has to earn a spot in my CRM.
I love that.
If they don't, because that's an opportunity cost. Time spent on those prospects is time that I could be spending on people that are actually going to transact with me.
Yeah, I love it. And do you know what your contact to lead generated ratio is with circle prospecting?
Yeah. So first contact, it's if you're just calling for 3 hours on a day, it's normally around 50 to 1. But if I include my follow up into that, it goes down to 25 to 30 to 1.
It's great. That's amazing. And then walk us through your definition of a lead. What has to happen for this person to earn a spot on Casey's roster and go into your CRM, go into your database?
Yeah. So it's the basic framework. It's their desire, their ability, their timeline, and I'm looking for okay. So basically, I ask for the appointment at some point in the call. It doesn't matter if I get it or not. I've asked for it.
And that
They've
doesn't
given
matter
me
if they're 6 months out, 12 months out, 2 years out, you're
yeah.
always going to ask for it, right?
Because if they're 6 months out, okay, I'll go for a preview appointment and I'll just go there to meet them, get in front of them. That's so
Yeah,
important. You want to get face to face with them because
totally.
then you're not just a voice over the phone. Um, they've given me some type of motivation. They've told me that it's not an option just to hold on to the house. They're going to sell this house, and they
Mm.
given me some type of timeline. And they're not obligated to any other agent. Those are my demographics. If I get those, then I know I have something, and that's a quality lead right there. And also, what I like to think is, would somebody else pay me money for this lead? Like,
It's the
would
best
someone?
question ever.
Yeah, would somebody else pay me money for this lead? It's like, is this person actually going to do business in the future? So
It's great. And I'm curious about the people in the live audience right now. How many of you would pay Casey to call on your behalf and get you a lead who he's asked for an appointment? He's verified that they have actual motivation and they're not obligated to a realtor. Throw a one in the chat. If Casey was your ISA and Casey was just calling for you and see, it's so true. That's the best question because the alternative to that is people forcing leads into their database. And then you ask the question, well, would you pay for that? Would you have paid somebody else if that was the lead they got you? And most agents say, hell no, I would never pay for the leads that I'm generating. And that's where they spin their wheels. That's why when agents prospect and they go to outbound, they never really get anywhere because they have the happy years, right? They live off hopium and then they have like a decent conversation, but they don't disqualify to your point, and they just shove anybody with a pulse into the CRM and then they never get anywhere. So walk us through the importance of lead follow-up and what do you do? So you generate one of these and you're getting, based on your numbers, you're probably getting what, a lead almost every single day right now? Would that be fair?
yeah, that'd be fair. Some days you get zero, that's
Sure.
fine. And then, 2 days in a row, you might get zero. On the third day, you get two. Yeah, so it's a spectrum. It's the area under the curve. It's all that matters is that you force yourself to do that 3 hours every day, no matter how you feel. That's really what it is.
That's
That's the
great.
most important part. Being consistent. That's
It's the
half
number one thing, right?
half the battle.
Yeah. So you're
And
getting,
yeah,
yeah. So on average, right? You're calling it like 3 to 5 leads per week, call it. So you're getting 15 to 20 high quality, high qualified seller leads in your market with zero competition. So that by itself is like, there's no business model that can compete with that. And then now we got to talk about lead follow up, right? So when you
favorite
generate one
part.
of these, yep, when you generate one of these leads, Casey, What do you do as soon as you hang up to the time where you're actually going and seeing them on a listing appointment?
Great question. And I wanted to preface this with this is also another reason why I joined the program because I asked Ben on our call, I was like, do you guys have a lead follow up system? I'm like, because I don't have one, I need a system. And that is the, the fortunes in the follow up, essentially. That's exactly what, if you have a lead and you don't have a system, they're going to fall through the cracks and you're going to lose a lot of business. So essentially, when I have a lead, I'm sending them a handwritten thank you card with the lotto ticket. I'm putting them on, depending on if they're a warm lead or a nurture lead, I'm putting them on either a weekly or monthly mailbox power.
Okay.
And I'm either calling them the first of every Monday of every week or every first of every month. And some other stuff on top of that, but that's essentially the core.
Are you doing, is part of your core any emailing? Are you doing any emailing at all?
Yeah, so I have I'm using Mailchimp basically, and that's synced up with my follow-up boss. So every lead that I go in that goes into my follow-up boss automatically goes onto my mailing list, and that goes out to my sphere as well.
That's great. And you're sending how many emails per month? Are you doing one a week or two a month?
One a week.
One a week. So your core is everybody who enters your world, right? Who qualifies to come into your CRM. Number one is going to get a handwritten thank you card, which is the best way to enter into your world. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Number two, they're going to get either a weekly piece of mail or a monthly piece of mail, determining on their timeline. They're going to get everybody's going to get a weekly email from you. And then depending on their timeline, they're going to get a weekly phone call or a monthly phone call. Is that right?
That's right. And I like to, one thing I've been doing more recently now is I've added one more touch point is I'll go knock on their door. Whether I got the appointment or not, I'm going to still do a pop-by and try to get in front of them, introduce them, and hand deliver my resume. And just say, hey, listen, if they're 6 months out, I'm like, listen, no, I understand you're pretty far out at the moment. I just wanted to introduce myself and shake your hand, and just keep us in mind when you decide to sell.
So smart, right? Because again, you're getting 3 to 5 really good leads a week. You could prioritize to say, okay, maybe I'm going to go visit my all of them, right? I mean, you could prioritize that. Go to the door, shake their hand, introduce yourself. How are those conversations going? How are those conversations? How do homeowners take that conversation? Are they ever mad? They're like, oh, Casey, we talked the other day. Like, how do they take that typically?
They're sometimes they're surprised, like, oh, you're at my door. I just talked to you before, but obviously it's all pretty positive. It's low impact, because you're not coming there to get them to sign a listing agreement. It's low impact. It's just like, hey, I'm here. Nice to meet you, and I'm off. I'm not asking for anything at that pop-by.
Yeah, because the goal, right? And so in doing that for years, it's like, hey, I was visiting another client, and so I thought I'd just stop by and see if you were home to say hi. I know we had the conversation on Monday. Just want to say hi, shake your hand, give you a copy of my resume, and then like we talked about on the phone, we'll talk in a few months or whatever they told me. It's like the easiest way. That's a really good core 5 things that you're doing with lead follow-up. Now, when you okay, so they go into their database, you're following up. When you get to the point of setting the appointment, tell us the difference between setting a listing appointment with one of those versus setting a listing appointment with an expired or for a sale by owner.
Yeah, it's a night and day difference, especially if you've been following up with them for a while. They're likely don't know, they're not talking to another agent because you've confirmed that with them. They're not going to be interviewing much other agents. So once you're at the listing appointments, really like a come list me call. So, and there's true. Maybe if there's an objection there over commission or something like that, yeah, you can address that when the time comes. But other than that, it's a very, very easy conversation. They're like, how much is my house worth? All right, let's sign the contract.
It's great because essentially you've been serving them as their agent over the follow-up period of time. So really the heavy lifting of this model is up front of finding the people, disqualifying them, putting them in the database, doing the follow-up system. But by the time this process comes, to fruition, whether that be 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, whatever it is, by the time an appointment is ready to be had, it's already done. I mean, there's no real high level of skill you need to convert it into an appointment. No. And then when you go on the appointment, you don't need to be like this unbelievable, captivating presenter is what you're saying. Would that be fair?
Yeah, because you earn the business, because you earn the business by being their agent before they hire you.
That's
And
right.
while you're following up with value. You're not following up being needy and asking, "Oh, you want to list yet? Can we meet yet? Can we meet yet?" No, you're following up with them with something that recently sold around the neighborhood, or you're coming up with a net sheet for them, and you're just giving them value along the way, and it just becomes a no-brainer to hire you.
Great. Last one for me, you guys, and then we're going to open this up for Q&A. So if you have questions, go ahead. You guys can get your hands raised. If an agent says, Casey, I'm so bought into this model, like you guys are doing, like you're doing, and Brandon's doing, and Wyatt's doing, how long is it going to take me to get my first listing? How would you answer that question?
Yeah, it's a long game. Look, real estate is a long game, so you might as well play it. And yeah, go after the now business, but also build this pipeline because you want to have at least two pillars, ideally more of business coming in. So it's going to take 6 to 12 months to really start seeing some feedback from it. And trust me, if you put it in your hands and you're building your skills, it's going to be a lot more beneficial at 6 to 12 months of building this than 6 to 12 months of sending out mailers that are passive and you're just spending money to send out cards. This is active and you're actually going after the business. So it's well worth it.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's like most things take 6 to 12 months anyways, right? So it's like,
Yeah,
if you do this, you're having voice-to-voice conversations. The thing is going to convert. It's just a matter of time. Unlike mailers or social media or buying leads, it's just a sit back, hope and pray. I hope this will work one day. And oh, by the way, the profit margins that you have are almost 100%. You're not having to put a bunch of money out waiting for that return. You're getting a return on your time, right?
yeah, and it's really it's just the 12 months is going to pass by anyway. Like you want to find yourself in 12 months and having no pipeline, or do this because that's I mean, it sounds like a long time, but once you think about it and once you visualize, once you actually see the pipeline maturity, because I was talking to in October, September last year, now you're getting ready to transact and things like that. I'm like, you understand, okay, wow, all the work I'm doing now my future self is going to thank me for it.
So smart. All right, let's open this up. So Sherry, let me go to you. I'll get you unmuted. You can unmute and ask Casey anything you'd like.